beta for Call of Duty World War II just ended, and to be completely honest, I'm very excited for the game. I didn't have a whole lot of time to go over and analyze the game, so my entire experience is literally the first impression that I had for the 2 hours that I actually had with the game. That being said, today I want to go over things that I liked and things that I didn't like during my limited time with the beta. My picks are in no particular order, and the listing that they are in is not a comment on how bad or good I think they are, it's just easier to put them in a numbered order. And with that, here are 6 things I loved and hated about the Call of Duty World War II beta. Okay, so let's start off with a negative here, because this was one thing that really hampered my enjoyment of the game: the SMGs. So SMGs in this game have a really high damage output and a really fast fire rate. The fire rate is to be expected because, well, they're SMGs, but one thing that I think the game can benefit from is a slight damage nerf to the SMGs. It's not a whole lot of fun to run around on a map and get melted by an entire team that's running with SMGs because of how stupid the damage is right now, but I'm sure that Sledgehammer will do something about this in the near future. The meta, as far as the beta went, was definitely on the side of the SMG, pretty much rendering all other guns useless at closer range. On the flip side of this, one thing that I really appreciate about the game is that range matters. While the SMGs might melt people's faces off at close quarters, they become increasingly less effective at further ranges, and I love this. This applies to shotguns as well, and I have to say that this is the best thing that could have happened to the Call of Duty franchise. I remember not too long ago that shotguns were severely overpowered and could take you out with 1 to 2 shots depending on the distance from the shooter. This time around, shotgun pellets practically bounce off of you at further ranges, and that is a welcome change that is sure to change up what weapons will be effective on which maps, leading to a better variety of guns on the battlefield. Going back to the negative side, we have the in-game UI. It's been changed this time around, and the setup is not exactly user-friendly, especially in the middle of a game where you have very little time to change your class to another loadout. However, this is just a personal quirk. I didn't like the fumbling around that I had to do in order to navigate through the now confusing menu system, but I'm sure with some time I'll be able to navigate through the menu easier than breathing. I can't even begin to count the amount of times that I accidentally pressed a different menu option than what I wanted and had to wait for another death to do the thing that I actually wanted to do. So frustrating. Going back to the positive, one thing that I really like about the game is the weaponry. There's an amazing selection of World War II weaponry, and they have been lovingly crafted to match their real-world counterparts. The guns all have a sense of weight to them, from the realistic recoil to the sound that the guns make. I think that there's a lower bass equalizer set to the firing sounds, which gives them a heavier sound, which kind of adds to the illusion of having a weightier weapon. The attachments feel right at home in the World War II setting, despite giving us the same perks that we've had in just about every Call of Duty game ever. Sledgehammer did an excellent job putting the finishing touches on the weapons. The range, as I said before, plays a huge part in which gun you have to use for different maps, because assault rifles obviously are better suited for mid to long range gunfights versus submachine guns, which are better for close range, and same goes with sniper rifles and shotguns. The final thing that I'm going to go over that I didn't like is the return to form. World War II brings back the boots on the ground gameplay that Call of Duty was known for before the advent of Sledgehammer's previous game, Advanced Warfare, which kicked off the jetpack era of Call of Duty. Since then, we've seen numerous changes to the formula, including wall running, boost flitting, and infinite sprinting. Now, I might be one of the few to say this, but I really appreciate new direction in a series that was starting to run stagnant. Now, this isn't to say that any of those games were good or well received, but the new direction is probably what gamers needed to realize that the game was good in its original iteration. I'm gonna miss the infinite sprinting though. I'm gonna add time to kill to this list as well, seeing as the time to kill feels much shorter than it did in games past. The setting and level design lends itself to having very fun and interesting gunfights, but the terrain is sorely underutilized because you're killed in about 1 second flat if your opponent has even a decent sense of aim. And finally, to end this video on a high note, the final thing that I really liked about the game is that it's boots on the ground. Yes, the original Call of Duty style is back, and everything about the game shows it. The level design is back to being more on the horizontal plane, which is very nice. The levels are reminiscent of a war-torn city, and the atmosphere of the maps are incredible, although I would prefer it if the game brought back the dingy color scheme of the Modern Warfare series. COD's been way too colorful for way too long now. But all in all, the boots on the ground formula has made a return, and the game is honestly much better for it, with realistic set pieces and the old school stop and start sprinting making a return from COD games of old. The sense of verticality has been removed, and you no longer have to be aware in a spherical 360 degrees at all times. And that's it for my list. Tell me how you think I did. Was it good? What did I miss? What would you add in your own list? Let's talk about it in the comments. Take care.